Welcome back to another Opentoonz tutorial. Today we're going to go over the 3 different levels that are inside Opentoonz and why you should use one or the other. Let's hop into today's video. So down here we have our new Toonz raster level. So let me make that. Okay, it's green. We have our new raster level. It's blue. And then we have our new vector level. It's really nice that each of these levels is a different color. So if we start off with our new Toonz raster level, and I choose my brush tool, we see that we have the size minimum and size maximum, which applies to every single brush. So you can make the smallest amount that your brush could be and how big your brush can possibly be, depending on the pressure that you use. So if I use less pressure and then increase my pressure, we can see that we get from my size minimum all the way to my size max here. So we can always adjust that. We also have our hardness. So if I have my hardness down at 0, we get a line that has a lot of fuzz around the edge. And hardness at 100, we don't get any of that blurred edge. And we also have our smoothing. So right now it's at 0. If I put it all the way at 50, it works as a stabilizer and tries to correct my lines. And one more thing I want to point out about our new Toonz raster level. So in our color palette, we have everything at black right now. If I was to change the color to red, we see that all of our lines changed as soon as we changed the color that we're using. Because we made them in that color, they're connected to this. So that's something to keep in mind. If you change, this color here, all of the lines you made with that color will change. Moving on to our new raster level. So we have our size minimum and our size maximum, just like the other level. We also have our hardness, but we also have opacity here, which could be really cool. And you can actually set an opacity minimum and an opacity maximum, which is even more flexible. So obviously with opacity at 100, we have a totally opaque line. If I want it maybe between here and here, depending on how much pressure I use, we can get a lighter to a darker line gradually, which could be a really nice effect. Now, if I change my color, we see that my lines didn't change color immediately. So I can go in with my paint bucket tool and make the line red if I choose to. So in this way, you might have more freedom to, kind of experiment with different colors. But if maybe you have a consistent design that like you made all of the outlines in black and you want to change them all at the same time, then perhaps using the new Toonz raster level is a little easier for that. And lastly, we have our vector level, which is possibly my favorite one. So we have our size minimum and our size maximum. We have accuracy this time. So if I have my accuracy at 1 and just make a line, we see that it kind of tried to correct my line in a way, but it's not very accurate to how I drew it. Now with my accuracy at 100, it kind of acts like a stabilizer once again, and it kind of leaves the line more so how I drew it. So that's something that you can play around with, and we also have a smoothing option here. Now, if I change the color to red, we see that all the lines are connected to my color that I chose, sort of like the new Toonz raster level that we tried out originally. But the cool thing about vectors is that if I use my control point editor tool, I can go in and see that my vector line is a path that is made of a lot of different smaller points that I can move and bend however I want, and I can move these little handles on the sides to also affect my lines. And this could be nice if you're having trouble getting the exact line you want. I personally like to make animations with vector graphics because I find it easier to edit. Vectors also can be good for other reasons as well. If you're more interested in learning the differences between raster and vector graphics, watch this video in the card, which goes over the major differences between the two across all sorts of graphics in general. I hope this helped you to determine which level you may want to use for your own projects. If you have any other questions, please leave them down in the comments below. And have a totally awesome day, and I'll see you next time.